If a seller prices an item too low, however, demand is likely to increase sharply. Imagine that you got to a restaurant and discover that chicken sandwiches are priced at $1 each. You would probably buy as much sandwiches as you could eat, and some for friends too. The restaurant would run out of chicken sandwiches very quickly. Neither the buyer nor seller benefits in the long term from either situation. When chicken sandwiches are too expensive, demand and decrease. The restaurant doesn't make money, the customer doesn't eat there. If sandwiches are too cheap, the restaurant runs out. Many customers will likely be disappointed. The restaurant probably isn't making enough money to cover the cost of making the chicken sandwiches. Setting the price of a chicken sandwich in a local restaurant might seem simple enough, however, it's really quite complex. The restaurant must consider the price is paid for ingredients from suppliers, how much should I pay its employees, what's the cost of maintaining the restaurant, including energy bills and rent. The restaurant must also factor in price that other places in the area charge and how much their customers are willing to pay. It's difficult to balance all the factors, and as a result, price can fluctuate. Striking a balance. Both buyer and seller benefit from a market in which supply and demand are more evenly balanced. Balanced between supply and demand called market equilibrium. In the chicken sandwich example, market equilibrium is reached when chicken sandwiches are priced so that every sandwich sold, but the seller never runs out. In this situation, customers are willing to buy as many chicken sandwiches as the result was has available. No more, no fewer. Now, let's think about the following situation. A band tour every summer and its popularity increases each year. As long as it keeps playing in the same stadium, the supply of available tickets each show remains fixed. The stadium only has so many seats, and the number remains the same. In this case, the market equilibrium price of a ticket is likely to rise as the band becomes more popular and demand for the tickets increases. How emotions affect supply and demand. Everyone has different preferences and values, which can impact their buying habitat. This is why the supply and demand constantly change the price of goods and services. The ways buyers view goods and services the also play a role in supply and demand. Buyers are often willing to pay more for something they see as valuable or cool. Each buyer makes the calculation differently based on their own personality and budget. Shoes, for example, can vary greatly in price, depending on buyer differences of preferences. A pair of plain sneaker is typically much cheaper than a pair connected to a celebrity athlete's name. Some buyers see available to the athlete's endorsement and willing to pay more for the celebrity factor of other buyers want to buy the cheapest shoe they can find based on their own values and situation. Every buyer is different. How do you play a role in supply and demand? By now, you must have realized how often you and everyone you know take part in markets in daily life. Take a moment to think about the goods and services you and your family often buy. The next time the price of one of them increases and increases, notice how you feel. The demand for the item, how much you wanted it, change as the result of the change in price. Why was that happened? When you buy something, candy or a house, you are taking part in a push and pull between supply and demand.